meted out to the indigenous people, the situation was naturally bound to explode. And indeed, it did explode. Many leaders were then sunk in the struggle. Some never lived to see the fruits of their sweat, while others lived to see the actual change of that. When a new group led by such leaders, Jaramogi, Masinde, Muliro, Tom Boy, and many others came in the struggle. The struggle took a different shape altogether. The constant agitation for independence by then created atmosphere of round-table talks with colonial authorities, which subsequently produced the desired result: political independence of the occupied forces. Those leaders, in their continuous fight against corruption and injustice and demand for complete political independence, made several promises. Our leaders at the time of struggle made a lot of promises to the people, our own people. Promise to the people of what they would do to them when the independence was attained. We told them we do this. The leaders promised to appease nonetheless, provide free education for all without discrimination. Health facilities were to be provided to all, and no one was to be denied the opportunity to access to the same. However, after independence was attained, most of the promises were either deliberately shelved or completely forgotten as each politician went unto himself. And you can see what I'm coming to. Differences then emerged among the leaders as to what mode of governance was desirable for the country. At some point, the differences became acrimonious. Some of you can still remember. And it was so acrimonious to the extent that some will suffer with them. Jaramogi, with his wing of politicians inside and outside Parliament, such as Bilal Kagia and several others in their efforts to keep aflame the promises they had initially made to Kenyan citizenry, put them in a collision course with the establishment. That's what Professor Egara was trying to mention. The covenant made between the politicians and the populace had been broken. The end result was the formation of an opposition political party with a view to ascend to the country leadership so as to enable them to revive the covenant with the people they had made during the struggle for independence. The purpose of writing my journey with Jaramogi is therefore not to eulogize him, but to, among other things, create awareness of what lack of selflessness on the part of African leaders could do to tear apart the dream. I repeat that sentence. The purpose of writing this, my journey with Jaramogi, is therefore not to eulogize him, but to, among other things, create awareness of what lack of selflessness on the part of African leaders could do to tear apart the dreams. It is evident that when leaders run out of steam, which they often do after attaining independence, they tend to adulterate leadership as well as governance. They personalize governance, and slowly and surely slide into autocracy. And more often than not, they become paranoid, thereby creating political predators around themselves. They recall to their tribal cocoons with a cluster of their village cronies. You have seen it. The strongman syndrome begins to embolden the boss to start dipping his fingers in the state coffers so as to cushion himself and his family. The village cronies, in bracket tribesmen, become more of his pillar than his party and political colleagues, and even ignoring their own cabinet advice. Criticism of such exercise, looting, oppression, suppression, organizations could easily invite such in prison cells or even fiscal elimination. If you look at that book, when Jaramogi and several others being asked, or including me, who are abandoned into cells, committing everything. This is a result of criticizing those parallel leaders. This is so because to the African leader, why is a source of wealth at the expense of the services is expected to render to the citizen. My contention here is not without foundation. Many leaders would rather die in power than voluntarily retire, because that would cut his source of wealth, or fear of being found out of misdeeds while he was at the helm. For instance, when Omar Bongo of Gabon died the other day, it was revealed and discovered that he had 60 bank accounts and 40 villas all over the world. No wonder African leaders do not take vacation, nor do they openly go for medical checkups. They don't do that. Our leaders are mesmerized by our children, even octogenarians, still in leadership, seek third or fourth terms in office. For what? About what? Good form Kenyan TBS is very pure. Why? For 80 years you still want the fourth term. It is a pity that many of our young people, that's true, don't get a chance to contribute meaningfully to the development of our nation. It is my contention, given a chance, our younger folks who shape the attitude of our people, including attitude of politicians and political sharks of our time. There is still a big room to change Kenyans' outlook in order to catapult our development in the right direction. If you are seriously thinking of an industrial Kenya, we should encourage our young people to ease out the older politicians who still stick to power like pigs on animals. On the other hand, I'm deeply bothered by the same upcoming young generation who are endowed with immense knowledge of management skills, which make no effort to influence matters in positive direction. But some of them become even more greedy, ethnically chauvinistic than the old guard. They are to ease out. It is really a pity. Look at the present parliament. We have a lot of young, educated people, lawyers. But look at the way we did. Look at the way. In conclusion, Kenyans, particularly the younger generation, are dangerously sliding into ethnic particularism or self-aggrandizement. We are witnessing strong tribal warlords coming into play at the expense of nationalism and national cohesion. This is what things that Dr. Jaramogi wanted to do for this country. And we are seeing now we have people. For how long will Kenyans continue to embrace these retrogressive tendencies among our leaders? How long will it take us to be a cohesive nation state? Are we really serious about building our country into a national country in the near future? Are we really serious? My challenge that will we ever be comparable? Will we ever be comparable with the Asian tigers, who actually were our contemporaries at the time? The other day I was listening to a talk on BBC the other day. Somebody in Korea said in Congo that in the 50s they were poorer than Congo. Where is Korea today? My parting shot. My challenge to young folks, as some scholar put it, this is why Jaramogi did on the the ruling class will never willingly give up special privileges and comfort. Over to you.
Thank you, Mzee, for sharing with us that experience and the fact that as much as we are saying the older generation are clinging on to power, the question we're asking ourselves is, are the younger generation ready to take over from the older generation? I think that is what Mzee tried to emphasize on. So I wish to take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to invite our discussant, Professor Egara Kabaji, to also share with us his perspective on the African leadership. You're welcome, Professor.
The organizers of this symposium, ARRF, Great Lakes University, Mzee Odinga, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to first of all take this opportunity to thank Mzee Odinga for this effort of giving us a wonderful account of what transpired there. When I was reading this book, I was reminded of St. Luke, who in his gospel says he simply set out to present an orderly account of what he witnessed. And I